review for the movie Wolves with George Clooney and Brad Pitt. So the movie is basically Amy Ryan is a district attorney in New York, and she has a liaison with a guy that she just met that night in a bar, and for some reason he starts jumping on the bed and he falls off, hits his head. She thinks he's dead, and then earlier, you don't see this, she gets a phone number for a cleaner who can fix problems, and this cleaner is George Clooney. She calls him, he goes there, and he's going to just dispose of the body, and then all of a sudden Brad Pitt shows up, and he's a cleaner too, and you find out that there's a camera inside the room of this fancy expensive hotel, and the owner of the hotel called Brad Pitt while she called George Clooney, and now they have to figure it out. That's the setup of the movie. The movie's directed by John Watts, written by him too, and he did the new Spider-Man trilogy, which I haven't seen, but I did watch Cop Car, and I really liked that. I'd say I liked that more than this. I did like the movie. It's kind of just middling, though. I'd say it's conventional. It could be better. George Clooney and Brad Pitt are pretty good together. This is kind of a buddy comedy in some ways. Very dry humor, though. So, yeah, less on the comedy, but they're both, like mob cleaners. I mean, they're not going to be, overly like Jim Carrey or something. So, but they do have good chemistry. I mean, they were in the Ocean's movies together. But yeah, so I'd say this movie's watchable. Not great, not amazing. It's a time killer. It's like an hour 45 or so. But, I did enjoy it. I think the last act has a lot of things that I'm not sure make sense, but I'll get into that. So, but what would I give this? I'd give this like a 6 out of 10, 6.5 out of 10 at best. So, all right, I'm gonna get into spoilers. So they're disposing of the body. He's in the trunk. They realize he's alive. They also earlier find that in his backpack he had a bunch of drugs. So now they're worried because they have to dispose of the body, and also they're like, okay, so he's delivering drugs to someone, and they're going to be angry when they don't get them. And they're thinking, is this? They're talking about the Albanians. There's the Croatians. So there's different mobs involved, and they're really ruthless, and they don't want to piss them off, which makes sense. So then the rest of the movie unfolds with them going to this lady who I think is a doctor, or maybe she used to be a doctor, and she's going to dispose of the body. And this is when they think he may be alive, but they're not sure if he's ODing or not. He ends up escaping and running away. Then there's a chase scene with them too. And when the guy's running away, if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. Like, he kind of sounds like a dying cat. Like, the way he screams, I was kind of like, what's with this guy's, like, scream? It's just, like, over-the-top ridiculous. And then this leads him to having to get a pager that will give him the number of the guys that he's going to drop the drugs off to. Now, this is when I start to have some problems, because I'm like, why? Okay, he's going to drop off drugs for this random person that is friends with, but it sounds like he doesn't know him that well. Like, they go to, like, business school together, like night school, and so, but the guy's like, okay, here's the drugs, drop them off, but you don't know where, just later you're gonna have to go to this bar, and then behind the bar where I work, but I won't be there, will be a pager. Then later that night you'll get a page of the number. Then you call the number, they'll tell you where to drop it off. It just seems like way overly complicated, and I don't think that makes much sense. Like, A, you're pretty dumb if you're doing that. And the guy seems like he's kind of dumb, so I guess that makes sense. But B, why not just give him the number? But I guess you don't have it. I don't know. That makes no sense to me. I think it's kind of ridiculous. And then there's all this stuff with both the Croatians and the Albanians, and they go to get the pager, and they both go in with the guy, but they don't want to both be seen together because they both have worked for these guys, because then they won't like that they know each other and they'll want to kill them both. So why not just stay in the car? Like, I know that they don't, because George Clooney doesn't trust Brad Pitt, and they don't trust the younger guy. But why doesn't just Brad Pitt go in with that guy? Why doesn't George Clooney just sit in the car? I don't know. And then it goes bad because they both see them together, and then they get, they put two and two together and they think they're working together, and then they have to do the drop off, and it's a huge ambush, and everyone dies except for, what's the guy's name? Is it Austin Abrams? He's just known as Kid. Yeah, pretty small cast. And then they all die except for the Kid and George Clooney and Brad Pitt. Decent shootout. Pretty quick though. I think this movie could have used more action, I would say. And then they're gonna maybe kill the Kid because he's obviously... That's why Amy Ryan called to dispose of his body, but they end up not killing him. And Brad Pitt ends up just randomly shooting one of the drugs, and there's a tracker in it. So I'm just not sure that any of that makes sense. Because then later you learn, after they drop the Kid off at his house, and then they talk to his dad to like threaten him, basically like, you're a kid and you need to keep your mouth shut. I'm not sure why talk to the dad. Why not just talk to the Kid? It just seems like, why put someone else in there that can ID both of you? But okay. And then they're both like, hey, you want to get breakfast? Because they're kind of like friends now, and they both know the exact this good breakfast place, so they both go there, and that's an ambush, and then they're going to be killed and the movie ends. Or you think. I mean, there's going to be a shootout. I almost wish they would show the shootout, but I guess that's a good place to end the movie. For me, this movie's just like all about Brad Pitt and George Clooney. They have pretty good chemistry. It's pretty, they're pretty entertaining, although they're kind of low energy, but I guess that makes sense because they're both like cleaners. But it's like, how, I'm just thinking of all these plot holes. It's like, how did the gangsters know that they would go to this random diner in the morning to have breakfast? Like, how do they know they're going to have breakfast, A, and B, how do they know they're going to go to that diner? They don't show them being followed. I guess there could be another tracker, like well, his car was destroyed. George Clooney's BMW was destroyed, so there could be so that doesn't make sense. How are they tracking them? So that makes no sense. Even if that Kid is in on all of this, how do they know they're going to go to that diner? And also, I don't know. There's just so many things, loose ends in this movie. I'm just not sure it adds up to a coherent plot. But Yeah, the drop off the pager at the bar seems overly complicated. How did the mob know where they would go to eat breakfast? That has no answer. So I just think the third act makes little to no sense. There's an article on Esquire that kind of I don't know, that they think they explain it, but when the trio finally makes it to the drop-off point, a massive shootout goes down. The Croatian gangsters followed them, but Ligren's men get confused. All the gangsters kill each other. Only the two cleaners and their new friend remains. Feeling bad for him, Clooney lets the kid live and they drop him off at home. At a diner the next morning, Brad Pitt's characters continue to find it suspicious there was a tracker in one of the drug packages. Then he says a line to Clooney's character that the person who first hired him told him before he took the job. Clooney realizes it's the same thing that his contact said to him, so they must have the same contact. Right. The whole operation was a setup right from the very beginning. Though the plans kept changing thanks to countless variables, the night was always supposed to end with a shootout that left all parties dead, including both sets of gangsters, the drug mule, and the two cleaners. But why do they want the two cleaners dead? It just seems like that they're good at their job. Why would you want them dead? I mean, they can keep their mouth shut, that's for sure, if they're good at their job. It's not answered. I don't know, I'm just probably overly thinking this, but for me, this stuff like this in movies kind of always annoy me. And then you end up filling in the blanks that the script writer should have done. Since they both knew the events that transpired that night, it's only natural that they too would have to die. I guess. It doesn't make sense to me. I mean, why? And why go to all this effort just to kill two cleaners who are already off the grid? Yeah, they're off the grid. They can keep their mouth shut. I mean, no one. They're good at their job. Why get rid of them? Why does their contact want all these gangsters killed? And how was the district attorney involved? Right, was she in on it too? From there, the plot swerves out of control. Honestly, I don't even have all the answers. Yeah, I know. Okay, as Pitts and Clooney's cleaners mule over the details at a diner, they spout many possibilities while talking at the same time. There's one theory that stands out. I know a DA who's tough on crime. Pitt's cleaner says people get arrested, cleaning up drug money. Great things to come. Does that mean the district attorney set all this up to make it look like she executed a successful takedown of drug-related gang activity in the city? Possibly. But that doesn't make any sense because she didn't execute the takedown. It was just two different mob groups killing each other over drugs, which they didn't even take because they just all conveniently kill each other. But the kid just survives. But if he's in on it, wouldn't you want to kill the kid? And then when they walk in, he's just hiding in the trunk. Very convenient. They all just happen to kill each other, and he is just in the trunk. As they finally piece the events of the night together, new killers surround the diner to finish the job. Maybe we'll find out what's really happening if the two fixers survive long enough to make Wolves 2. Yeah. I mean, I would actually like to see a sequel, even though I have a lot of problems with this movie, just because they're pretty good, and then now they're friends, and maybe they survive the diner, and they're on the run, and the second one maybe could be more action. But I don't think it would happen, because a lot of people didn't really like this movie that I've seen from the reviews. I mean, like I said, it's a 6 out of 10, 6.5 at best. So it's pretty middling, but you know, you could start the next movie off right where this ends, and they're in a shootout, they survive, they barely make it out of there, and then the rest of the movie is they're on the run and they're fighting a bunch of mobsters. I think that could be cool, but you know, I don't know. I think that's about it. It's kind of a forgettable movie. I'm trying to find what the budget is. Apparently, it was in theaters for like a week. I mean, it's an Apple Plus or Apple TV or whatever it's called movie. I'd say I like Cop Car better. He also directed in a movie called Clown, which I'm interested to watch because it's a horror movie. It's like one of his first movies, so I'll probably be watching that. because I did really like Cop Car, but this I think has a lot of problems in the third act that I don't think make sense. And then at the end of the credits, they show the video of the guy meeting Amy Ryan, and the way he meets her isn't exactly how he told them he met her, because he's just kind of sitting near the elevator, then she goes to the elevator, so she already has the room, which I think she said she bought after she met the guy, because she was just went into the hotel to find a drink. And so then it's like, okay, so is he in on it and she's in on it too? But why? Like, why? Then why have him jumping on the bed? And then why have him hitting his head? Is all that on purpose too? It's just like, yeah, it's ridiculous. And why would she want to do this? Why would she want to expose herself to dumping a dead body, even if he's not dead? You know, I mean, it's illegal, and she's a district attorney, all to take down some mob, maybe to lower crime a little bit, because she's tough on crime supposedly, but the cops aren't the one taking them down. It's a civil war with two mobs, you know. So I don't know. Comment below. Let me know what you think. Sorry, it's kind of a rambling review about things that I think don't make sense, but I do think George Clooney and Brad Pitt are good in the movie, and I think you could make a movie that's better as a sequel. You just got to write a better script and add more action. You could easily do that in a sequel. But if you could do me a favor and smash that like button, that'd be great. Really helps the channel. And let me know below what you think about all this. So did you enjoy the movie? Maybe more than I did? Do you think it makes more sense than I did? If you do, then let me know why. But yeah, that's about it. See you next time.